Hello everyone, I'm here with the psychic prediction video for October 2022. So let's start off with Bitcoin. So I'm seeing Bitcoin going up around the first third of the month or so, and then coming back down towards the middle of the month, a little bit lower than it started off. And then I see it kind of going back up a little bit towards the end of the month, but not as high as it goes during the first third of the month. It doesn't seem to be a huge gain, but it seems to be a noteworthy gain in the first third of the month or so. I do want to also give a heads up about November and December because I've been saying this for a long time, but I figure I'll repeat it here, that I don't see November and December being very good for Bitcoin, especially the second half of November and the first half of, or first quarter of December in particular, but as a whole, all of December doesn't look very good. So anyways, now that we're done with Bitcoin, we can move on to the war in Ukraine with Russia and all that. When I was tuning into that, I was seeing Biden being very aggressive and Putin being very timid and quiet, and it was like he was sitting in a chair kind of with his head down as if he was on a timeout, like if he was in trouble and put on a timeout where he just kind of isn't saying much and he's waiting. I do get the sense that he's going to slowly come back and be more animated. About halfway through November, things kind of slowly picking up more and more. But as far as October, I get the sense that he's going to be kind of quiet. And this also corresponds to something I've said before. I think it was 2 months ago or so that I said that I was seeing for October that there could be some issue with Putin and him because of popularity within his own government being on a hiatus. That's how I said it. Being on a break um, from his position of power. And so now we're seeing a lot of protesting starting up that is probably going to continue into October. But either way, it seems that there is a lot of negative energy coming towards Putin. So I think that is going to pass how I was seeing it, and he may kind of lay low for a little while. I don't think he's going to necessarily be kicked out of government, but what I was getting was that it was like there'd be like a break of some sort, like he kind of loses his power temporarily. Anyways, I don't want to speculate too much about that. So anyways, for October, I was seeing Ukraine dominating Russia, actually, being more dominant and causing Russia to change their strategy to a much more slow and more long-term outlook, and it's like they're playing the waiting game. I also see Putin looking sad as well. So it seems to be a good month for Ukraine. Although long term, it still seems like Russia could play the long term waiting game that may work out more for them in the future. As far as the economy of the world in general, when I was tuning into the economy, I was getting that there was a a rough energy on individuals, on individuality, I guess you could say, and lots of people conforming to more of the mainstream due to there being less options available. And because there's less options available, kind of like maybe supply shortages in certain areas, things that people would normally depend on in order to be independent, those things seem to be kind of less available. And so people are forced to kind of go with the mainstream, go with the flow, go with what everyone else is doing, which is more of what is abundant at the time. The way that this came to me was actually a image of someone fishing, and they're trying to pull up the fishing line, and the line snaps, and it comes back with no fish and no hook. So it's like they're not able to fish anymore, and so they have to go back into town and kind of go back to the mainstream, I guess you could say. So there's also a sense that it may be important to help other people out or allow yourself to be helped by other people. So now that we're done with that, we can move on to more of the fun stuff about the energy of the month, and more what's happening on an individual level, maybe more of a collective individual level, less political anyways. So the general energy for the month that I'm getting is actually pretty awesome. It seems to have a sense of this holiness and this sacredness, almost as if people are getting high on this sense of what is sacred and holy. So spirituality seems to be heightened. And you could relate this to the feeling of standing on top of a mountain. And it's kind of like this climax of energy that you might feel in your head, kind of like it builds up and it's almost like gonna explode. Maybe explode isn't the right word, but almost like a head rush of energy buildup. And so this is also kind of related to all the prior months building up, and it's kind of reached this climax of pressure, I guess you could call it. And in November it seems to kind of cool off, like okay, so it's September now, but October's next month, and then after that, going into November, it seems to kind of cool off a little bit, and people kind of go back to work and go back to their life. But for now, it seems like people are kind of like taking a break mentally, psychologically, like standing on top of a mountain instead. And so intuition may be running very high. So it might be good to, take some time to notice your intuition, or to tune into it a little more, or to allow yourself to give yourself the time for that to happen instead of being in the constant rush. So a thing that's very interesting to me is that I was seeing this divide within people, and it was like some people are less affected by this, and they're kind of just continuing on with their day, and things just seem very peaceful and not too eventful. And I was seeing them as having this blue energy, which is a very healing energy, and it's not a bad energy. I'm not trying to say that people who are not being affected by this energy are worse, but it seems like there are some people who are like bedazzled is the best word I can think of by this energy that is creating more of a orange, red, gold vibration within their auric field, and it's kind of like creating this ecstatic feeling, and it's almost as if you can feel the truth rather than see the truth or know the truth. It's like you can almost feel the truth, and that seems to be the people who may be more prone to that, or may actually kind of know what I'm talking about when I say that. Those are the people who are going to be more affected by this energy, and it's a very amazing energy. It's like flowing, and like it's almost like the energy is dancing in a very peaceful, not like destructive, forceful way, but a very nice flow to it. So this energy for the month of October is it's encouraging people to be honest, and this is more so, or this isn't necessarily more so towards other people. This is towards other people, but also towards themselves, or toward, yeah, and also having more of acceptance of where people really are in their life. So a lot of the denial or kind of stories we tell or excuses we give, kind of accepting that those are just excuses. And also the lies that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves on track or to sustain your current lifestyle. Those lies that we tell ourselves are going to kind of like melt away and disappear. And we're going to set our eyes more on what we really want in life. And those other things that may have seemed like big deals, that may have even got your heart pumping, like, oh no, what if somebody finds us out or whatever like that, those will kind of just seem irrelevant. Relatively speaking, that is. It's not that they'll be completely irrelevant, but they'll be calmed down, almost melting away within the month of October. So, also the fear of disappointing others by, things that you may do to make other people feel better about themselves. In some sense, those can be lies, like a white lie. And so helping other people in a way that isn't authentic to you is going to also kind of melt away and fade away. So you're going to be finding more of your authenticity. So don't be afraid to disappoint other people based on your real opinions and your real ambitions. So what I see for October is people readjusting their sails, like a boat. That was an image I saw of a boat, and people adjusting the sails to get it to go in the right direction. And it was really all about the energy of not faking it anymore, and just really going out there and getting what you really want, doing what you really want in life. The second chakra for the whole of humanity seems to be the most stimulated here. And I was also seeing, especially for those who are more sensitive to this energy, with the orange, red, and gold energy, and this sense of feeling like bedazzled, ecstatic, kind of feeling this sense of truth to them, those people are going to be more prone to also feeling anger. And this isn't necessarily everyone, but some people may feel some anger about being stuck in a box and wanting to break out of that box. Although it's not going to be explosive anger, it's not going to be too destructive. I actually see it as a healthy anger about switching things up, kind of like the spark that creates change. And sometimes that can disappoint other people or make people even feel bad about doing it in the first place. But this spark is going to really be stronger and kind of drown out all the excuses, I guess you could say, for not following your true path. So what is October good for? It's good for allowing yourself to take a moment to pause and take in the energies. So it's good to really just allow yourself to feel these vibrations, these energies. Just feel whatever it is that you're feeling and giving yourself time to do so. It's also good for giving yourself time to comprehend the bigger pictures in your life rather than rushing around, thinking about all the things you have to do, all the details. Kind of allowing yourself to take some time, again, is important here. It's also good for dropping all the games that you may be playing with yourself, and I mean games in the sense of things that you're caught up in that don't really matter. So kind of dropping those and following your true passions in life. But also another great way to do that is to visualize what you truly want in your life. And I feel like that's going to be kind of happening naturally in October for many people. But I think it would be even better to kind of supercharge that and put some intention behind it and purposely do that so that you can visualize exactly what it is that you want in your life. And just let that be, and you can even let go of it. You don't have to hold on to this perfect idea of what it is. Just visualize it, let it go, and allow it to come back to you in your life once you can clear through the energies in the way of that intention. So what is this month bad for? This month is bad for focusing on other people's needs. So this is really a month about you finding your authenticity. And so by focusing on other people's needs, it really kind of prevents that from happening. And it seems like everyone is kind of being guided by their own inner self, their inner voice, their higher self, you could say. But really it's more like the authentic version of themselves everyone's being guided by their own truth. And so you don't want to warp that for someone else to make them feel good, because it's really about self-development. And so focusing on other people's needs is not really a priority for the energy of October. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't help other people, because I did say other people may need your help. But focusing on yourself and putting your energy into yourself is important here. This month is also bad for revenge, because revenge is based on, well, the things that didn't work out and payback for that. So that's kind of the opposite of focusing on what you do want. So focus on what you do want, because this is a great month for that. This is also not a good month for trying to be deceptive, because people are more intuitive this month and able to see right through you. So people are just going to be saying things like, "What are you doing? Why are you being like that?" If you're trying to be tricky, they're basically gonna catch you. Or what you're doing will become irrelevant to what matters. So like, even if you are tricking and fooling people, it's still not going to pay off as well as being more honest and authentic would, specifically for this month. So, to summarize, this month is about finding yourself, breaking out of the social constructs, and realizing that life is short. And part of that is to live honestly, because life is short. Why would you fake your life? So the advice is, and when I was asking for this, I was like, okay, so what's the advice for the month? These words came to me word by word, not as a full structure, but word by word. So I didn't even know what it was leading to. But the words that I got was, don't be the fool who stays behind. So what I interpret this to mean is, this is the month to move forward with your life, even if it makes other people feel uncomfortable. And I threw in the part about making other people feel uncomfortable, because I feel like that was a big obstacle in moving forward. And what can cause people to be left behind is the idea that what they're doing is going to make other people feel uncomfortable, or that changing your opinions or identity or way of being, or being seen in a different light, may almost be inappropriate. So allow yourself to go forward with your passions, and just don't be the fool who stays behind. I'm going to leave it at that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. You can subscribe to my channel, and my Patreon page is only $5 a month to join right now. And I also post crypto predictions and all sorts of interesting, controversial, and out there ideas on my Patreon page if you're interested in that. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.